Vibrant lights of the concert hall flickered like stars come to earth, bathing the crowd in hues of gold and green as George Strait stepped onto the stage. The roar of the audience welled up like a river, a tidal wave of excitement washing over everyone present. In that moment, he became more than a performer, more than an icon. He was a lifeline to dreams, a voice for those seeking connection in a vast world. Yet 1,000 miles away, nestled in the quiet of her bedroom, Lucy Martinez felt an aching isolation that no applause could reach. At just 12 years old, Lucy had already learned the sting of invisibility. She sat cross-legged on her bed, her old guitar resting on her lap, fingers idly brushing against the strings as if waiting for something or someone to awaken the music inside her. The room around her was a shrine to hope and imagination. Posters of George Strait hung by her bed, and an assortment of scribbled lyrics filled notebooks that sprawled across her desk. Yet tonight, none of it felt enough. She heard the distant sound of the concert, a thrum that vibrated through the walls of her small house, but it felt like a world too far from her reach. Lucy's heart sank with each cheer she could barely comprehend, each shout from her peers that never included her. Memories of being teased at school wrapped around her like thorns, tight and suffocating. With her head bowed, she recalled the words that had cut deep, whispering in her ear, "You're not special. You'll never be like them." Taking a deep breath, Lucy grabbed a blank sheet of paper, its starkness reflecting the void she felt within. "What if I could tell George?" she mumbled, the thought both thrilling and terrifying. She imagined him reading her letter, his eyes widening at her words. What if he read my letter? That prospect ignited a flicker of hope deep inside her, yet a wave of doubt crashed over her, fear wrapped tightly around her heart. What if he never reads it? What if my words fade into nothing, just like me? It was easier to retreat into silence, easier to let the night pass without making a single sound. Despite the longing churning within her, Lucy hesitated, her pen hovering above the page. This letter was not just a piece of paper. It was her voice, her dreams spilling onto the canvas of the unknown. It was a connection she desperately craved, a bridge to the world that seemed to celebrate everything she felt she lacked. She put the pen down, letting her fingers wander over the guitar strings instead, a soft and familiar comfort in her solitude. As she strummed a few notes, she let her imagination guide her, envisioning herself on that bright stage, sharing her song with the world. The thought energized her, if only for a moment, but the laughter filtering in from outside made her heart ache. Her classmates celebrated together, while she felt the weight of her own loneliness. The thought broke her spirit anew, and she dropped her guitar. Tears stung her eyes as the roar of the concert blended with her feelings of sorrow. It was a cruel reminder of what she'd always wanted, but couldn't grasp. With a trembling hand, Lucy picked up her pen again. This time she pressed the tip to paper, pouring her heart out, each line a release of unspoken desires. "Dear George," she began, her writing shaky but resolute, "I hope you can hear me." That night, under the dim light of her room, Lucy took the most significant step of her young life. She chose to fight against the silence that had engulfed her, determined that her song would find the light, that she would not remain unseen. In her words, she found the courage to begin. One letter, one dream, one heartbeat at a time. A few days later, Lucy found herself sitting quietly in her classroom, the hum of chatter around her barely registering. She stared out the window, lost in the expansive Texas sky, where cotton candy clouds drifted lazily by. The sunlight streamed in, lighting up the worn wooden desks and casting long shadows on the floor. It was moments like these that transported her back to better times, a childhood filled with laughter, exploration, and the tender embrace of her mother, Maria. The memories swirled in her mind, vivid snapshots of sun-drenched afternoons spent in the backyard. They would sit together, Lucy swinging her legs as her mother strummed a guitar. Maria laughed, singing silly rhymes that always made Lucy giggle. It had been their time, simple yet full of magic. Lucy remembered how she had clapped her hands and begged to sing along, her mother encouraging her with gentle smiles, their voices harmonizing against the backdrop of swaying trees. But as years slipped by, the melodies faded. As Maria took on more work to provide for them, 2 jobs that left her exhausted every night, their music was replaced by silence, the sweet laughter giving way to weary conversations at the dinner table. The deeper Lucy's mother sank into her responsibilities, the more Lucy felt like a shadow in her own home. That day's lesson droned on, but it was a guest speaker, a local musician, who stirred a flicker of hope within her. She pictured herself on the stage, the microphone in her hand and her heart racing just like George Strait. She could hear the cheers of a crowd, feel the swell of community around her, their joys and struggles intertwining. What if I could become that? What if I could inspire someone just like George, she thought, fervently wishing her paths would cross with the idol she both revered and feared. Her daydream, however, was interrupted by the familiar voice of Billy Thompson, a classmate who usually sat alone in the back. His timid voice broke through the chatter of the room, asking if the lyrics he had scribbled in his notebook were any good. Lucy turned to find him looking at her, his eyes wide with a mix of curiosity and apprehension. Lucy felt an unexpected connection. "Can I see?" she replied, a tentative smile playing on her lips. As he slid the notebook across the desk, she felt a surge of gratitude that he chose her to share his dreams with. The lyrics on the page reflected his own insecurities, an outpouring of emotions mirroring Lucy's struggles. Their choking realization washed over her. They were both navigating through the same shadowy paths of invisibility. "Billy, these are good," she encouraged, her voice sincere. "You should sing them. They deserve to be heard." Surprise flickered across his face, quickly replaced by a shyness that told her it wasn't the first act of kindness he'd received. "You think so?" he stammered softly, pulling his brown hair down to hide his eyes. "I do," Lucy insisted, feeling a bond forming. They were both felt neglected in different ways, their solitary worlds, lonely echoes of dreams yet to be chased. Days turned to weeks, filled with laughter shared discreetly in corners, whispers of hopes exchanged during lunchtime. Between them grew an unspoken promise, a pledge of support, a safe haven amid the chaos of longing for acceptance. With Billy, Lucy felt the weight of her silent struggles lighten. They would often talk about music, their dreams swirling like the notes of an unwritten song, creating a chorus that echoed in their hearts. One evening, as they walked home together, the sunset painted the clouds in deep oranges and soft pinks. "What if I told you I wrote a song?" Lucy asked, catching a glimpse of him from the corner of her eye. Billy turned to her, his eyes widening. "No way, really?" His enthusiasm sparked something deep inside her, encouraging her to share not only her talent, but her dreams. "I was thinking, maybe we could perform together one day," she said, a nervous flutter taking flight in her stomach. "We should. We could be like George Strait and his band," he replied, laughter rippling through his words. "Just two kids with something to say." A warmth blossomed in her chest as she fostered that thought. Their laughter filled the air, a bridge connecting their unvoiced hopes. That brief moment in the sunset, the world dimmed around them, assuring Lucy that perhaps she was not as alone as she feared. As she arrived home that evening, Lucy saw her mother's face illuminated by the glow of the kitchen light, tired but warmly welcoming. Maria was cleaning up after a long shift, her face etched with exhaustion, but also love. Lucy approached, wrapping her arms around her mother. "I miss singing with you," she murmured into the embrace. Maria kissed the top of Lucy's head, the weight of her work pressing on her shoulders, still able to convey warmth. "I miss that too, mi amor. Let's pick a day to sit down and strum that guitar." In that instant, Lucy felt a flicker of hope rekindle, a promise that their music could return. Perhaps it wasn't too late to mend the strands of connection that life had frayed. If only they could both share their songs, the hidden melodies in their hearts could converge, creating a symphony that might finally be heard. As her mother smiled at her, Lucy's determination stirred anew within her. If her words could conjure connection and perhaps make noise in a world of silence, both she and her mother could heal through the power of music. As the weeks passed, Lucy's bond with Billy grew stronger. They shared snippets of lyrics, encouraging one another to embrace their dreams. The air hummed with excitement as news of the upcoming talent show spread through the school, igniting hope within Lucy. "You should definitely perform," Billy exclaimed one day during lunch, his enthusiasm palpable. "I can't wait to see you shine." Yet, the thought of stepping onto that stage sent waves of fear crashing against her resolve. "What if they laugh?" she replied, bitterness rising in her throat. "What if I'm not good enough?" Billy studied her for a moment, a flicker of compassion in his eyes. "Lucy, everyone starts somewhere. Just think of the joy you could bring. Your voice deserves to be heard." Although his encouragement warmed her heart, Lucy couldn't shake her self-doubt. After school, she sat under the old oak tree in the yard, sketching a dream that felt more distant than ever. What if she could be the next rising star like George Strait? The idea stirred something deep within her, but insecurities kept winding tightly around her heart. When audition day arrived, anticipation crackled in the air. As Lucy walked to the auditorium, she felt like an actor stepping onto an empty stage, her fears overshadowing her dreams. The sounds of laughter and music poured out, underscoring her anxiety. Standing behind the curtain, she caught glimpses of her classmates shining in the spotlight as they shared their talents, each note drawing her deeper into a pit of despair. Finally, it was her turn. As she stepped into the spotlight, her pulse quickened. The bright lights were blinding, obscuring the faces watching her. She gripped the microphone tightly, the sensation grounding her for a fleeting moment. But self-doubt surged like a tidal wave, threatening to wash her back into the shadows. "I can't do this," she whispered, stepping back. The crowd shifted, murmurs filling the air as her heartbeat echoed in her ears. Billy stood backstage, his eyes wide with concern, silently willing her to continue, but the noise felt suffocating. With tears threatening to spill, she withdrew from the stage. After the auditions ended, Lucy found a quiet corner outside. The day felt heavy, a stark contrast to the cheerful sounds of the talent show remaining inside. She gazed at the sky, her heart crumpling under the weight of disappointment, again feeling like a ghost among her classmates. Later that evening, she stepped into her home, greeted by the gentle glow of the kitchen lights where her mother, Maria, was tidying up. "Hey, Mika, how was your day?" Maria asked, concern etched into her tired features. Lucy couldn't hold back the pain. "I didn't perform, Mom. I chickened out." The words spilled out, thick with shame. Painting the walls of her world in muted colors, she dropped her gaze. Maria set her hands upon Lucy's shoulders, searching her daughter's eyes. "Why didn't you try? You have the talent, and I know you love it." "Because I'm scared, Mom. What if they laugh at me?" The facade of courage crumbled, leaving Lucy's vulnerability exposed. With tenderness, Maria knelt beside her daughter. "Lucy, don't let fear define you. The world can be harsh, but music is your voice. It's the bravest act to share who you are with others." As her mother's words hung in the air, despair gripped Lucy. Later that night, as rain tapped gently against her window, she pulled out her guitar. Strumming aimlessly, she chased fleeting memories of her childhood, filled with laughter and song. But even that comforting ritual couldn't fill the void she felt. In the silence of her room, lingering shadows of loneliness embraced her tightly. The upcoming talent show loomed closer, taunting her with the question of whether she would ever find her voice among the many who shone. Just when she thought the weight of her silence would crush her spirit, the sound of her guitar filled the room with a timid melody, sparking fragments of hope within. But as reality settled in, reminding her of the impending show, tension gripped her heart once more. Would she remain hidden, forever overlooked, or could she step into the light? As her world dimmed, Lucy grappled with the knowledge that before she could embrace music's power, she needed to confront her fears head-on. The lingering doubts held her captive, yet somewhere beneath the layers of fear, she found a glimmer of determination, a distant echo of the singer she longed to be. The storm outside faded, making way for the dawn of a new day. But for Lucy, the battle was just beginning. With each whispered note and tentative strum, she grappled with a longing to rise, to embrace the brightness waiting just beyond the shadows. As dawn broke over the Texas horizon, golden rays spilled through Lucy's window, igniting the room with a warm glow. The faint sound of birds chirping drifted through the air, carrying with it a sense of hope that felt foreign, yet inviting. Today was the day of the talent show, and Lucy felt the pressure of expectation weighing heavily upon her. She sat on the edge of her bed, fingers lightly tracing the strings of her guitar, which sat silently in her lap. The instrument felt like an extension of her soul, but today it felt even heavier. Would she finally find the courage to share her voice? The prospect of being seen and heard intensified both her fear and her longing. Suddenly, a knock at the door pulled her from her reverie. It was Maria, standing there with a bright smile, a fresh plate of pancakes in her hands. "I made your favorite," Maria chirped, her cheerful tone wrapping around Lucy like a warm blanket. "You need to eat before the show. You can't perform on an empty stomach." Lucy smiled weakly, sliding to the side to make space for her mother. As they shared breakfast, the conversation drifted effortlessly between stories of the past, tales of school mischief and funny family moments. With each shared laugh, her burdens began to feel lighter. Lucy listened as Maria recounted her own youthful experiences and the fears that had shaped her. "Mom, were you ever scared to perform?" Lucy asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Maria paused, her gaze distant for a moment, as if the memories were alive again. "Every single time," she replied, sincerity etched in her features. "But I learned something important. Being afraid means you're about to do something brave. It means you care." The words washed over Lucy, resonating within her as she took a deep breath. Maybe her fear wasn't just an obstacle. Perhaps it was an invitation for her to take a step forward and embrace what she loved. After breakfast, Lucy retreated to her room, sat on the floor and picked up her guitar again. She closed her eyes, allowing the chords to flow from her fingertips as they mingled with her heart's whispers. She played a melody she'd been crafting for weeks, an expression of her journey, her battles, and her dreams. The soft rhythm felt like a gentle nudge, urging her to keep going. As the day unfolded, Lucy arrived at the school auditorium with Billy by her side. The atmosphere was electric. Students were buzzing with excitement, each awaiting their chance to shine. Billy squeezed her hand and gave her a reassuring grin. "You're gonna do great. Remember, you're not alone." As the minutes ticked away, the performances began. Each act showcased undeniable talent, laughter ringing through the auditorium, but Lucy's heart raced in anticipation for her turn. Finally, her moment arrived. "Next up, we have Lucy Mayfield," announced the host. As her name echoed through the space, a mixture of fear and determination surged within her. Lucy took a deep breath, stepping onto the stage before the staring eyes of her classmates and teachers. The bright lights engulfed her, but she focused on the familiar wood of her guitar instead. "Hi everyone, I'm Lucy," she managed to introduce herself, her voice wavering slightly. As she settled into her place, she scanned the audience, allowing herself to connect with the familiar faces. Billy, Maria, and even those who had once made her feel small. Closing her eyes, she let her heart guide her as she strummed the first chord. The melody flowed into the silence, a tender release filled with vulnerability, hope, and courage. Soon, with each note, the worries that had shackled her heart began to lift. She poured her soul into the song, verses of her struggles, her fears of obscurity, and the beauty of finding strength within herself. It felt like each word was a thread, weaving connections between her and the audience. She could hear gasps and murmurs of admiration as she revealed stories wrapped within her truth. As the final notes faded, a silence fell over the room, thick with emotion. Then, like a flood, applause erupted, her classmates rising to their feet, cheers of support washing over her. Lucy's heart swelled. They had heard her, really heard her. Tears pricked at the corners of her eyes as she exited the stage. Cheesy grins plastered across the faces of familiar classmate friends, and Billy's eyes sparkled with pride. "You were incredible," he exclaimed, enveloping her in a warm hug. "See? Told you so." Maria rushed forward, her expression a blend of joy and relief. "I'm so proud of you, Lucy." Her mother's eyes shone with tears, reflecting a shared understanding of the journey they had both taken to this moment. As everyone began to disperse, Lucy felt a newfound sense of identity settling within her. The fear that had once threatened to consume her now felt minor, just afterthoughts lost in the jubilant energy surrounding her. That night, as she lay in bed, Lucy reflected on what she'd accomplished. She realized she had reclaimed her voice, not just for herself, but for all the dreams hidden inside her heart. The echoes of her performance lingered in her mind, a reminder that despite the noise and chaos of life, her melody could still shine through. Music had become her lifeline, a way to connect and express all the complexities of her journey. As sleep began to pull her under, Lucy smiled, knowing tomorrow would greet her with new opportunities to explore. The shadows of doubt had faded, replaced by a glow of possibility that promised an exciting beginning. Not just the rebirth of her musical passion, but the revival of her spirit and her relationship with her mother and friends. For the first time, Lucy embraced the future with a heart unburdened and a spirit soaring, ready to chase the dreams she had kept hidden for so long. The days following the talent show unfurled for Lucy like a colorful tapestry, each thread vibrant with newfound confidence. Her heart danced with joy and anticipation as the warmth of her classmates' support wrapped around her like a cherished quilt. Whispers of admiration followed her through the hallways, and the familiar laughter of friends felt like music, filling the spaces once occupied by fear. It was during lunch one day, under the sprawling branches of their favorite oak tree, that Lucy spotted a flyer fluttering in the wind. It advertised a local music festival, a celebration of talent where aspiring artists could perform and showcase their creativity. Her heart raced. This could be her chance to extend her wings and share her music beyond the school walls. "What if we entered together?" she proposed to Billy, her eyes alight with a mix of hope and trepidation. Billy's face erupted in a beaming smile. "Absolutely. We can write a song together and perform it. You'd be amazing." As they brainstormed ideas during their lunch breaks, Lucy felt a spark igniting between them. Each note they created became a celebration of their friendship, an anthem of resilience. They poured their dreams, fears, and the raw essence of their youthful hearts into the lyrics, each line revealing a part of themselves they were eager to share with the world. The process was exhilarating. Late-night jam sessions transformed into therapy for both Lucy and Billy, and the lines of their song became a mirror reflecting their growth. Strumming her guitar in perfect sync with Billy's voice, Lucy let herself get lost in the music, feeling more alive than ever. As the festival day approached, excitement buzzed around her like a swarm of fireflies, albeit tinged with apprehension. Despite her progress, she sensed a flicker of doubt threatening to dampen her spirit. Would she truly be ready? On the morning of the festival, the sun blushed orange and gold as it peeked over the horizon, illuminating the world with hope. Lucy felt the warmth seep into her bones, igniting her courage. Clenching her guitar in one hand and a cup of coffee in the other, she took a moment to breathe in the day's promise, allowing its energy to fill her up, while excitement thrummed in her chest. The festival venue was vibrant and bustling with activity. Dance and laughter floated through the air, and the gentle scent of fresh popcorn combined with the earthy fragrance of grass created an intoxicating atmosphere. Each stage burst with talent, from pop performers to folk artists strumming their guitars, each representing the tapestry of voices in their community. Once backstage, Lucy's pulse quickened as she watched the performers who had come before her, each one exuding confidence as they captivated the audience. When it was their turn, Lucy squeezed Billy's hand tightly, seeking reassurance in his familiar presence. "You've got this, Lucy," he whispered, his eyes sparkling with encouragement. "Remember how far you've come." With those words echoing in her heart, they stepped into the spotlight, greeted by a sea of faces glowing with anticipation. The first moment in front of the crowd transported her to her bedroom, alone with her guitar, singing just for herself. Closing her eyes momentarily, she immersed herself in the music they had created, letting the notes propel her forward. The moment the first chord resonated in the air, Lucy felt something shift within her. All the fears that had once stuck like glue began to dissolve, replaced by an overwhelming sense of purpose. Their song, an ode to dreams, friendship, and courage, filled the space around them, weaving itself into the hearts of everyone present. And then, with every word sung, her spirit soared higher, unfurling itself like a banner in the wind. The crowd swayed, caught in the magic of their performance. Lucy's gaze danced through the audience, landing on Maria, who stood beaming with pride, tears glistening in her eyes, an unspoken acknowledgement of the journey they had shared. As the song reached its crescendo, Lucy felt invincible, each note colliding joy with every ounce of her passion. When the last chord strummed and the final note faded into the warm air, a silence fell over the crowd, before it erupted into applause that swelled around her like thunder. Billy pulled her into a tight embrace. "You are incredible." His voice was tinged with awe. Lucy laughed, elation coursing through her veins as they exited the stage, the thrill of victory buoying them. The after-party burst with joyous celebration, friends and family surrounding Lucy and Billy, congratulating them, telling them how they had captivated the audience. The energy was intoxicating, every shared smile amplifying Lucy's sense of belonging. Later, as the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in hues of orange and purple, Lucy found a quiet spot on a bench under the oak tree where it all began. Cradling her guitar, she allowed herself to reflect on how far she had come. The festival was not just a triumph over her fears. It felt like a new chapter that beckoned her into a world bursting with the colors of possibility. "Hey, Lucy," Maria's familiar voice snapped her out of her reverie. She felt warmth wrap around her as her mother sat beside her. "That was phenomenal. I can hardly believe my little girl sang in front of everyone." "Thanks, Mom," Lucy replied, her heart swelling with pride. "I really felt like I was finally being heard." Maria leaned in closer, stretching her arm around Lucy, looking deeply into her eyes. "I always knew you had it in you, Mija. You've transformed into something beautiful, not just a musician, but someone who knows their worth." Tears brimmed Lucy's eyes, a shared understanding passing between them. The music had become more than just sound. It had woven a fabric of connection, hope, and newfound strength. For the first time, Lucy embraced the future wholeheartedly, poised to chase the dreams that beckoned from beyond the horizon. The shadows of doubt had evaporated, replaced by the affirmations she had discovered within herself and those she loved. As the stars twinkled overhead, Lucy realized that this was only the beginning. The world was vast, waiting to be filled with her voice, a tapestry yet to be woven, adventures yet to be uncovered. And as she started to strum a gentle melody, each note resonated with determination, anchoring her resolve. She was ready to rise, embrace the journey, and let her song reach out into the universe. The weeks that followed the festival felt like a whirlwind of activity and growth for Lucy. Empowered by the experience of performing, she dove headfirst into her music. With each new day, the guitar became a comforting presence, a vessel through which she could express her innermost thoughts and feelings. The melodies she created, richer and more complex, began to reflect the wisdom she was gaining along the way. Billy continued to be her steadfast companion on this journey. Their collaboration flourished, and soon they were writing songs that encapsulated not just their experiences, but also the lessons life had taught them. Each chord became a conversation, and every lyric they penned was an exploration of the joys and sorrows that defined their youthful lives. One afternoon, with fluffy clouds lazily drifting overhead, they settled on a patch of grass beneath their favorite oak tree, guitars in hand. Lucy strummed a few chords, her mind wandering momentarily as she looked out over the park, bustling with families and friends enjoying the day. She turned to Billy, a sudden thought striking her. "Do you think it will ever get easier?" she asked, seeking solace in his unwavering gaze. "Easier?" Billy mused, tilting his head as he considered her question. "Maybe not, but that's what makes it worth it, right? Every challenge empowers us, gives us strength. We've both faced our fears, and look at us now." Lucy nodded, appreciation swelling within her. The thrill of overcoming her insecurities and stepping into her true self was a realization she never wanted to fade. "I just want to keep growing, keep finding my voice." Billy smiled knowingly. "Then let's keep writing, let's explore. We can turn our stories into something beautiful." The prospect of creation filled Lucy with excitement. That afternoon, while the sun dipped low in the sky, casting a warm golden light, they wrote furiously. Their songs began to weave intricately, layered with raw experiences, heartache, and laughter. Each verse felt like a puzzle piece coming together, a shared journey binding their souls tighter. As summer rolled into fall, their friendship blossomed, paralleling Lucy's artistic evolution. She became more adept at articulating her feelings through music. Each song told a story that resonated not just with her, but with the world around her. Words flowed out effortlessly as she captured the essence of adolescent struggles, the pursuit of dreams, the sting of heartbreak, and the beauty of friendship. Then came that defining moment, the school's annual winter concert. The anticipation leading up to it buzzed in the air like static. Lucy and Billy had managed to secure a coveted spot to perform one of their original songs, a piece they had crafted just for the occasion. They hoped to convey a message of resilience, one born from their shared journeys. The night of the concert arrived, a magical evening filled with excitement, decorated in twinkling lights that bathed the auditorium in a warm glow. The smell of pine wafted through the air, a reminder of the holiday season, and the sounds of laughter echoed from backstage as performers readied themselves. Lucy felt a rush of nostalgia as she glanced at the stage, the very place she had once stood trembling with fear. She took a deep breath, absorbing the energy, the familiarity, and the magic that enveloped the room. Each clatter of feet and rustle of fabric stirred excitement, and she bit down on her lip, feeling the weight of expectation. "I can't believe we're here," she whispered to Billy, her voice rising above the din of voices. He grinned, his excitement unmistakably contagious. "We've worked hard for this, Lucy. We're ready." As their turn approached, Lucy's nerves stirred again, but they felt different this time. They felt almost comforting, as if she were welcoming the butterflies in her stomach rather than shying away from them. The duo stepped into the spotlight. Once again, they filled the auditorium with their music. As Lucy sang, she poured her heart into every word, singing not just for herself, but for everyone who had ever felt unheard. The audience swayed, captivated by their performance, and Lucy looked out into the crowd, spotting familiar, supportive faces beaming with pride. Maria, who sat in the front row, absorbed in every note, and classmates she had once doubted had even noticed her. As they finished the song, a thunderous applause erupted, shaking the walls and engulfing them in appreciation. There was no anxiety now, only joy. Lucy met Billy's eyes, and in that moment, they shared a profound understanding of what this journey had meant to both of them. Later, backstage, Lucy was flushed with exhilaration, a feeling she never wanted to forget. Maria found her first, enveloping her in a hearty hug. "I knew you could do it, honey," she exclaimed, pride gleaming in her eyes. "You've come so far." "Thanks, Mom. I feel like I'm just beginning." As she looked around, the sea of familiar faces, clapping hands and beaming smiles reminded her how far she had come, not just as a performer, but as a person, understanding the power of connection and shared experience. Later that week, Lucy and Billy sat in their sacred spot under the oak tree, reflecting on the journey they had traveled together and all that lay ahead. The laughter and conversations between them were now interspersed with deeper discussions about life, hope, and aspirations. "Do you ever think about where we'll be in a few years?" Billy asked casually, plucking at his guitar strings absent-mindedly. "I try not to worry about the distant future," Lucy replied. "I just want to keep creating, keep discovering new truths about myself and the world." "That's wisdom," he mused, his gaze thoughtful. "The journey matters more than the destination, right?" Lucy nodded, a smile creeping onto her face. "Exactly. It's the music, the people we meet, and the memories we create along the way that really count. The rest will come when it's meant to." As they continued to play, the sun began to dip below the horizon, painting the sky in brilliant shades of lavender and gold. At that moment, Lucy understood that not only was she finding her voice, but she was also discovering her place in the universe, a place filled with music, friendship, and the courage to face whatever the future held. For Lucy, the music had transformed from a mere passion to a powerful reminder of her journey, a journey proportional in both struggle and beauty, where each note sung was a testament to her strength and resilience. And so they played on together, weaving the narratives of their lives into the fabric of their music, ready to embrace all that lay ahead. As time flowed seamlessly, Lucy and Billy thrived in their creative journey. Each day, their songs grew richer, reflecting the love and connection they felt with their community. Their music resonated far beyond their small town, drawing people in and inspiring hope. With winter approaching, Lucy was energized by an invitation to perform at a local charity event, an opportunity to help underprivileged children access music education. The thought ignited her heart. Music could become a bridge to dreams. "I have to do this, Billy," she said one afternoon, excitement bright in her eyes. "Absolutely. We can write something together that captures that spirit," he replied, his enthusiasm infectious. They spent the following weeks crafting a song that embodied their shared hopes. Collaborating with local musicians heightened their sense of community, reminding them of the importance of supporting one another. On the night of the concert, the auditorium buzzed, beautifully decorated with twinkling fairy lights. Families and friends crowded in, united for a common cause. Lucy took a deep breath, soaking in the atmosphere, her nerves, albeit present, now intertwined with excitement. When it was finally their turn, they stood at the edge of the stage, ready to share their creation. The moment Lucy's fingers strummed the strings, the audience hushed, allowing their emotions to fill the space. With every lyric sung, Lucy poured her heart into the performance, channeling the power of their shared purpose, encouraging others to find their own voice. As the melody swelled, she could see children in the crowd, their eyes bright with wonder. In this moment, she understood the significance of her journey. What they were creating transcended themselves and focused instead on helping others. After the final note lingered in the air, applause erupted, washing over them like a wave. They took their bows, exhilaration coursing through their veins, hearts swelling with gratitude. The performance had touched lives. They had shared something that resonated deeply. Backstage, Maria found Lucy first, her face shining with pride. "You were amazing, Lucy. You have such a gift," she exclaimed, enveloping her in a warm hug. "Thanks, Mom. I want to give back and help other kids discover their potential," Lucy replied, her voice filled with purpose. "You're already creating a legacy," Maria whispered. "Your music speaks to hearts." As the night wore on, Lucy experienced a profound sense of belonging. Conversations swirled around her, laughter mixed with emotion, and she felt a kinship with those gathered. Looking at Billy across the room, she raised her glass in a toast. "To the journey," she called. "To us," he replied, his face beaming with pride, and they clinked their glasses amidst a crowded room. Reflecting on her own transformation, Lucy smiled. What had begun as a shy girl's dream had blossomed into a force for good, a true legacy in the making. She realized that with each song, she was not just sharing her voice, but igniting the dreams and aspirations of others. For Lucy, music was no longer just a passion. It was a testament to her journey, her struggles, triumphs, and the connections she forged with everyone around her. With determination fueling her spirit, she was ready to embrace the path ahead, ready to craft a legacy of love, compassion, and inspiration through the power of song. And so they played on, souls intertwined through shared melodies, ready to explore the infinite possibilities that lay ahead.